So next we're going to look at 11.5 in the AND problems, but this is where you've got to decipher and distinguish between the AND problems you've done before. These AND problems are more than one pick. That is extremely important. If it's one pick, you're saying they both have to happen at the same exact time. So you just do probability of success over probability of total. If you're picking more than one, we are going to have to require both situations to happen. In 11.4, we were able to do a tree diagram. So we were able to look at the sample space and get the answer. So if you can look at a sample space, absolutely do it. But it's not always easy to write out the sample space. So we have to come up with a formula. The key word again is still both, but now we're introducing something that's called conditional. It is conditional on both of them happening. And this is the notation for conditional. It does matter the order. This says the probability that B occurs given A has occurred. So whatever is second in the notation, that has already occurred. So it's really important. So here's your formula you're going to use. If you're more than one pick, you're going to be multiplying. So the OR problems we were adding, and problems with more than one pick, you are always multiplying. Okay? So probability that the first thing happens. So we find that probability, success over total. Then we're going to multiply, but we have to take into consideration when we find that success over total for the second case, we have to assume that the first one already happened. So that's what this notation means. Probably that the second pick happens given the first one already did. This line here, this bar, means given. It's telling you something already happened. Now we had mutually exclusive was important for an OR, because that just meant that if I was picking one, they can't both happen at the same time. The key for an AND problem, special case, is what's called independent events. It means if the first one happens, it does not affect the second one. Okay? So one occurrence or non-occurrence in no way affects the occurrence of the other. If they are independent, the condition goes away. So again, we give you another formula here, but this is the formula you need to understand. Okay? And the condition goes away if they're independent. So let's look at example 5. We now are drawing 2 cards. So on your test, these are going to all be mixed up. Please stop and ask yourself on every probability question, how many draws am I doing? How many picks am I doing? So in this case, I'm drawing 2 cards from a standard deck. So again, remember, if you haven't memorized your deck of cards, please print off that page that's in our Canvas shell and memorize it. With replacement. So this means I'm going to pick the first card from the deck. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to put it back in the deck, because that's what replacement means, and then draw the second card. So again, I'm going to write out the formula the pure way it is. So in words, what this says is that the first card, just again in words over here on the side, the first card, we want it to be red. And we look at it, we put it back in. And the second card, we want to be black. Now, I looked at the first card and I put it back in. So you have to ask yourself, does that first card affect the second card? No, because I put it back in the deck. So with replacement means that they will be independent, because I put it back in. So the probability that the first card is red is 26 out of 52. I look at that card, and then I put it back in. So now I put it back in. How many cards do I still have in the deck? I put the card back in. I have 52 choices because I put it back in. And out of those 52, how many of them will be black? How many of them will be black? Half of the deck. Key for more than one pick with an and is you're multiplying these together. Now, I personally would simplify them first if I was just doing this in this way, but you can put it in your calculator. Just be careful. What you type in is what it's going to give you. But 26 over 52 is a half of the deck. Some of you might have just written that down off the top of your head by understanding cards. So it's a half times a half, which is 1/4. This case is independent. So I did probability of red times probability of a black. Because they were independent, I could just multiply the two together. So I'm going to just write that down over here on the side. Probability that the first one's a red times probability that the second one is black. I don't have to worry about any condition because this was independent. So going to my second one, I am saying I drew two cards. I want the probability that the first one's an ace. I look at it. I put it back in the deck. The second card I pick is an ace. So these are independent because it's with replacement. So probability that the first one is an ace times probability that the second one is an ace. I can do this without the condition because they're independent. So how many aces are in the deck? 4. So 4 out of 52 times, put it back. So I still have 4 out of 52. That simplifies to 1/13 times 1/13. 1 times 1 is 1 over 169. You are expected to simplify these. If you do not simplify them, they will be marked wrong. Please read these, pause, see if you can do them on your own before you listen to me. So my second example here for this is example 6. Draw 2 cards from a standard deck without replacement. Now normally on the test, you're not going to have both of these in the same problem. So you have to be careful and look for the key words. Homework, a lot of times in the beginning you will. So without replacement means you draw the first card, you keep it out, and then you draw the second card. So what I have written there in orange, because I know it's not easy to read, draw the first card, keep it out, draw the second card. So this does, the first pick affects your second pick. These are not independent. This is a dependent case. So, first one, first card, think about it. We want the probability that the first card is red. That's not going to change. We have 26 out of 52, or some of you again will already know that's a half. But now I have taken that red card out of the deck. So how many cards do I have left if I've taken a card out of the deck? Started with 52. I keep that red card out. So now I only have 51 cards left. Out of those 51 cards that are left in my deck, how many of them are black? I pulled the red card out. That does not affect how many black cards I have. I still have 26 black cards left. So this is the same thing as a half times the 26 over 51, which should give me 13 out of 51. This one, the red card stays out, and you don't put it back in. One card stays out. It affected the denominator because I kept one of the total cards out, but it did not affect how many black cards I had. And then I always multiply when I'm picking more than one. So my last one here, I have 2 aces. Again, this is a dependent case because I'm not putting the card back. So in words, what I'm doing here is I want the probability that the first is an ace. I keep it out. And then the probability that the second is an ace. That's what I want. Like, that's the idea here. So this is one where the keeping it out matters. So the probability that the first one is an ace, there are 4 aces out of 52, or some of you will know that that's 1 over 13. Again, if you know that already, you can use it. But I have now kept that ace out. So start with the denominator. How many total cards do you have? You had 52. You kept a card out, which is 51. We kept an ace out, so now there are only 3 aces left. 4 out of 52 is when I start with the original perfect deck, but I keep one of the aces out, so there's only 3 left out of 51 cards. Again, multiply that piece out, which actually the 3 over 51 simplifies. If you saw that already, you could do it. If you didn't, your calculator will do this, but this is where it's very helpful to watch the TI-30XS calculator videos that I have in Canvas. It will show you how to enter it into your calculator and how to let it simplify it for you. So your answer here should be 1 over 221. An OR problem should make something bigger, meaning the probabilities, because you're saying more can happen. You're letting more possibilities. And problem, when you're picking more than one card, you should shrink the probability because you're now putting more situational pieces on your pick. So you should expect your probability to go down. If on any of these problems you get a probability bigger than 1, you did something wrong. On any of these problems, if you get a probability less than 0, you did something wrong. So just a quick summary here. Please read over this. When to use which formula. An OR, again, can be one where you can write it out, but it's only one selection. Okay? And you're always adding for those. You just have to make sure you don't include something twice. Don't include twice. An AND problem, for this type of AND problem, we are picking more than one selection. So on these, we are multiplying the probabilities together, but you have to be careful and ask yourself, does the first pick affect my second? Which is what we call conditional probability, which we'll get into more in the next section. Mutually exclusive, again, those are the 2 special definitions in this section. Okay. Mutually exclusive goes with your OR problems, can't both happen at the same time. Independent means that the first event does not affect the second.